Hello, welcome. How's your day going? So today we're going to be doing something a little bit different than I've been doing. Granted, I've only made 2 videos on this channel so far, but yeah, they've both been very similar videos. They've been GoPro vlogs, and figured I'd do more of a laid back, chill video. Partially because my last photo shoot I did didn't really, bring the GoPro with me, didn't record any footage, mainly because I just wanted to enjoy, my time going to this event that I went to, which I went to First Friday here in Vegas. If you don't know what First Friday is, it's basically an event that showcases artwork from different types of artists. Kind of gives some exposure out to these artists. They can sell their work, just show off their work, and overall it was a pretty cool time just kind of seeing people's artwork. I really do enjoy art a lot. I enjoy a very creative, space, and this was definitely a really cool event. Went with my girlfriend, just wanted to enjoy the event, but I did want to get some photos too. I just didn't feel like recording. Like I said, I just wanted to kind of enjoy the moment, not really have to worry about recording and getting footage. But I did take some photos, and I figured we'd go over some of the photos I took at this event. Surprisingly, most of the photos that I took weren't actually of the event. They were actually walking from the parking spot, because we had to park probably like a mile away from the event because of how crowded it was. A lot of these photos I took from the parking spot and then back to the parking spot, basically. Took a bit more scenic route when we went back to my car and got some pretty cool photos. So without further ado, let me showcase some of the photos I got that night. Alright, so just want to say this beforehand. I actually had a lot of fun with these photos that I took. There are a couple photos, especially the one you're seeing now, that definitely just kind of like a filler photo for like a photo set, but I still thought they were good enough to make it to the process of editing. I took a very low photo count this time. I took probably, I'd say on average I take about 300 to 400 photos when I go out and do street photography or anything like that. But I ended up taking only about 100 photos this time, which is actually pretty low. And the photos that actually made it to this video, or basically just made it to the edit stage, or what I like to call the Instagram post stage, those are the photos that I would definitely post on my Instagram that I'm like, okay, these are some good photos that I'd like to showcase. And the one that you're seeing right now definitely falls into the category of just kind of being a filler photo for like a photo set. Now, this photo doesn't really fit any of the other photos I took that night, but I thought the reflection was kind of cool in this car. This car was parked right in front of an RV on the side of a house. I thought it looked really cool in person, but it was definitely one of those photos that looked cool in person, but then actually taking the photo, I did not really like it as much. It isn't really a bad photo necessarily, but it's definitely just kind of like, once again, just a basic filler photo. So I don't know, I thought the edit I threw on was pretty cool. Definitely has more of a gray tone to it. It was starting to get to blue hour stage. It was around, I think, 7:30ish or 7:40 when I took this picture at night. Yeah, it's a pretty cool photo, but definitely not a headliner photo, as I'd like to call it. Not like something that would be the showcase of a photo set. It's not really the main subject, but I think you've got the point that I'm trying to get across. It's a cool picture. Yeah, not really anything special though with it. So this is a photo that, once again, it looked really like, when I saw this composition in person, I was like, oh, this is a pretty cool scene. And I still think it's a pretty cool scene that I did capture. It's not really like anything crazy. There is one thing that I do need to fix with this photo if I am going to post it or anything, or just keep it as a photo that I can add to a photo set in the future. So in Lightroom, I usually just let Lightroom auto adjust like the horizontal lines and straightening of the photo. And well, when it did that, when I used the auto straighten function, it kind of looked a little bit weird. So I tried to manually straighten it, which you would think, I would have it straight from using the grid lines in Lightroom to straighten it, but apparently I screwed up because I think it's a little bit crooked. Honestly, at this point, I've seen this image quite a few times, so I can't. I might just be developing exposure blindness to this photo. I don't really know. Yeah, it seems a little bit off still, but overall, I like the scene of the photo. It's a very basic just shot of a woman inside of looked like a cafe, but I really like the lighting behind her, and then I like the street lighting that was lighting the plants in front of the window, and then you can see there's also a light where the little takeout bag is inside the actual cafe or restaurant. Pretty cool. I like the lighting. I like the fact that she was wearing a red shirt and it kind of contrasted with every other color in the image, because as you can see, you've got yellows, you've got that brown, I guess orange color of the wood, you've got the white for the building, you got black in it. It's got quite a few darker colors, but that red really sticks out and makes it vibrant and showcases the subject. Definitely something you should keep an eye out when you are composing photos, is if you've got a more, I don't know if I'd say monotone coloring of a photo, but if you've got definitely like a darker photo and really want your subject to pop, definitely want to find someone who is wearing a more vibrant color to pop, and it just creates an image like this where the contrast between the colors is really nice. But yeah, overall basic edits I did here, just kind of I like to, at least with my most recent edits, I've been overexposing the highlights, and on some photos it works great and it really adds to the atmosphere of the photo and the mood to the photo. This one I think works with the highlights, but there are photos that I've been trying to work with the highlights and adding a little bit of a haze feature, and it doesn't work, obviously. But this is definitely one of those photos I think was exposed pretty good, and the highlights really bring out the subject. So I spent a lot of time on this photo talking about it, even though this was definitely one of the weaker photos of the night. But yeah, I guess let's just move on to the next one. Now this is definitely a photo I really like, mainly, as you can see, because of the lighting situation. It was, once again, it was still blue hour. I think it was closer to 8 o'clock. We were getting closer to the event, because I think this, I think I shot this probably a block from where the event actually started. This one, once again, definitely overexposed the highlights, which was on purpose. I wanted to give that kind of, over highlighted look to it, I guess, kind of like what you would see on film. And yeah, it's still in blue hour. It's I really like, I like the positioning of the building that I composed this shot in, because I wanted to show a little bit of the sky while making sure that, obviously the subject, which is this building, was clearly in frame. You can see everything that's going on. I did bring down the shadows a lot in this image, and I think I darkened up the blacks a little bit in this photo. But overall, it definitely was a very atmospheric photo. Definitely really, it kind of portrays this, like, I don't know, I don't want to say eeriness, but like, there's just this weird feeling I get when I see this photo, and that's what I'm looking for when I take photos, is it makes me feel something that, it makes me feel something immediately, like looking at that photo. It gives me this emotion and this mood, and this is definitely one of those photos that is just, there's something about it that I just really like, and I can't really name it. I don't know if it's just the contrast of the light against the dark building. There's just something about it that I really like. But definitely one of my favorite shots of the night. This was also kind of a warm-up shot, so surprisingly, the fact that a warm-up shot made it to the final edit, I think that was a sign of good things to come for the night. This is one of those shots that I took that was just pure luck. Like, we had just got to the event, we were walking past the vendors and whatnot, we were walking past some buildings, and we were trying to get our bearings straight, so we had no clue where we were going, me and my girlfriend, and we started walking towards like the food area, the food truck area, and I don't know what made me look over to the left. I think it was the big lemon that is, not in this photo. There was a big, like, blown up, like, lemon that was right next to this truck, I think. And I looked over at that. I was like, okay, it's pretty interesting. You know, that might be a cool photo. But right there, actually, now I'm starting to second guess myself. Was it a lemon or was it corn? Because now on this food truck, I'm seeing corn. It might have been corn. Either way, it was a yellow food. It looks like corn because that is what is on the truck. But that is besides the point. I don't even know what I'm doing right now. But as you can see, the gentleman on the right, if you really look at it, really pay attention, I don't know if you can see, but he's got a bird. Now, I don't know what type of bird it is. I am not an expert in the aviation category of animals, but he has a bird in his hand, and I don't know how you train birds to just sit there on your hand and not fly away. I don't know if its wings are clipped. It probably is, but it just like, oh man, I'm not even judging this guy, but like, the fact that he brought a bird to this place is just like, that is so awesome. I want to be like that when I'm older. I want to be that guy right there. But moving on to the actual composition of the photo, yeah, you got that guy, older gentleman with a bird. Now, there's a female right next to him, a younger lady, and she appears to be looking down in the photo, but I thought it looked really cool to have them side by side, you know? And now when I'm actually looking at it, it kind of contrasts, like, there's a little bit of that age difference that really, like, shows, like, the contrast between age. I don't know why that was so hard to get out, but it, you know, they're both looking at the same thing. This photo still would have done well without the female next to the older gentleman, but I think having those two subjects right there in the light really kind of balances out the photo. There is a gentleman on the right-hand side of the older gentleman too. I didn't even notice he was in the shot till like literally just now, but you know, because of the way the lighting was situated, the main subjects you're seeing is these two that are in the middle of the frame. Thought it was a really cool shot, very unique shot. Definitely one of my favorites of the night, but I do have another one that is a contender. So yeah, let's move on a little bit. So this shot right here, when I first took this shot, initially it just kind of once again was one of those filler shots that would be, you know, in probably like a 3-piece photo set. And now looking at it, especially the edited version, I don't know what it was with that night, but I felt like I got extremely lucky with some of the shots I took. And normally, you know, I try to rely more on, you know, my skill as a photographer to get the composition, to get the lighting and whatnot, but this night I was definitely in a more relaxed mood. I wasn't really like, you know, freaking out if I didn't get too much photos. It was just gonna be a chill night. I wasn't even sure if I was gonna make like a video talking about these photos, or I wasn't even planning on like posting any of these photos to Instagram. But this is definitely one of those shots that, like, on paper it looks like a pretty basic shot, but the way that the sun is still setting with blue hour rolling over, the blue sky turning into night, and all the lights kind of lined up throughout the scene hanging there from the tree, it just, I don't know, there's something about this scene that really sparks some like emotion, I guess, in me. It just kind of sparks this feeling of like joy and happiness, you know, just being at an event, having fun, you know, walking around, the sun setting, you know, it really, I don't know, I think this photo could definitely stand on its own, and it's definitely a good photo. I don't even think it needs a photo set necessarily, but yeah, once again, I think it was mainly, I just got lucky with the lighting in that situation. The sun was still setting, like I said, the blue sky is kind of rolling over into night, still, you know, blue hour time, but definitely a shot that first glance was like, okay, kind of basic. Now that I'm looking at it and I've had a few chances to kind of look at the photo, it's a photo that I'm really happy with. I'm happy I ended up taking this type of shot. But yeah, overall that's really it, you know, basic edits just as with the rest of the photos. But yeah, let's move on to the next one. Now this one right here, oh, this one this is the other contender for the top shot of the night. Now, as you can see, I hope that I was able to represent this image good and represent the subject, which, as you can see, is the gentleman right under the lighting under that pizzeria sign. Now, I don't know, like, I'm telling you, I don't know if it's just because I was having fun that night and I was relaxed, wasn't worrying about, like, you know, getting the craziest, best shots, but I think that probably was part of the reason. I feel like some of it was luck, but also some of it was I was just in a really relaxed state of mind. I was having a good time, and I managed to capture this shot. The fact that in the middle of this crowd, there was a gentleman standing right under these lights that, oh boy, it just, so much atmosphere, so much, like, it just has a very cinematic vibe to this photo. It just, the pizzeria sign in the background, the warm tones, the yellow, you know, lights above him, just the composition itself, him being the one person standing right under those lights in the middle of that crowd, and the crowd's a little bit darkened up with the shadows. Oh, that composition is probably one of the better compositions I've pulled off for like a street photography type photo. It just, yeah, as you can see, I did overexpose the highlights once again intentionally to kind of give more atmosphere to the photo. I did add a little bit of haze into the photo to really give those lights a bit of a glow. Other than that, just basic, you know, shadow adjustments, white balance adjustments, just things like that. Definitely contender for top photo of the night, but let's move on to the next one. This one was actually like one of my favorite photos I took of the night too. Not necessarily top contender photo like the two I showed before, but this one was definitely like, it definitely just portrays this eerie mood, you know, this graffiti, you know, on the wall, just the one little light coming down towards the door, you know, kind of expose the highlights a bit more to really, you know, show off that area and just give it that really weird, eerie, ominous vibe. There is a light in the background too that was highlighting some dumpsters. Not really, I mean, like, actually it does make a lot of that photo. It really adds another aspect to that photo, because you initially see that light by the door and then you see that other light, you're like, whoa, what's back there? But because I intentionally darkened that area up, you can't really see what's going on back there. Definitely a really cool photo. It's one of those photos that I normally wouldn't have thought of taking, but I just decided, hey, this looks pretty cool. I think with a little bit of adjustments in Lightroom, a little bit of edits to kind of give it more of a cinematic feeling, give it more of an ominous, eerie vibe. It's definitely, it's not a boring photo to me. It's just kind of like, it's just a pretty cool photo. You know, there's not much more to say to that. This is a photo that initially I took. I thought it was going to be a bit of a cooler shot, but I don't know. I don't know if it's just the edit I did for this shot or what. I think I definitely adjusted the white slider a little bit too much. I don't know. I think with a little bit of tweaking of this photo in Lightroom, I could kind of, you know, make this more on par with my standards for my photos recently. But this one was definitely just kind of like an average photo. I did have a lot of fun taking this photo, but it's definitely, looking at it now, not something I would post on its own once again. I feel like a lot of the photos throughout the night could have just been really good in photo sets to tell a story. I do have quite, you know, there's a few photos that are definitely like headliner photos. Okay, my camera decided to stop recording, but we are back. I think what I was saying was a lot of my photos, I feel like that night could have been really, they could have been either like headliner photos, like photos that just stand out on its own, or they could have been in a photo set. It was a very, I don't know, these photos came out very interesting. There's definitely a few photos where I'm like, yeah, those, I could have posted those photos on their own and it would have been perfect. But there's some photos like this one where I'm like, it's kind of, it could be like a filler photo in a set, but it also might be able to stand out on its own. But the fact that I'm a bit hesitant on that probably means it wouldn't stand out on its own as a pick. I don't know why I said it like that, as a pick. But regardless, I think with a little bit of tweaks in Lightroom, this photo definitely can come out a little bit more clean of an edit. I still think it's a pretty cool photo, but it's kind of an average photo. Still had a lot of fun taking the photo, and at the end of the day, that's what matters. If you have fun while doing it, even if it turns out to be a shitty photo, you still have fun. So, you know, it's a learning experience, but yeah. So let's move on to the next one. Now this one I really like a lot, mainly because as you can see the lights in it. I have been looking into the concept of liminal spaces recently. I might make a separate video on that topic because it's definitely a cool topic I'd like to get into, and it definitely has a lot to relate with photography. But I tried to give this photo definitely a more, once again, ominous, eerie vibe. Just kind of like a mysterious vibe to this photo. You got the blue lights reflecting off the pavement. You've got the yellow contrasting with the blue. Overall, it's a pretty cool photo. Honestly, one thing that would have been really cool for this composition would have been if I had a subject walking from right to left, kind of facing towards the light walking, you know, with their back turned towards me, but that did not happen. But I still like this composition. It's still really nice, still really clean. It's definitely invoking the mood that I wanted to invoke, which is kind of just eerie and mysterious, you know, where is the light coming from? What is this place, you know? Definitely, it's a pretty cool photo. I like it. I like the atmosphere of the photo. Like I said, it would have been cool to have an actual, like, subject, you know, besides the building in the photo, have, like, an actual subject, a person walk through it. But other than that, it's still definitely up there with cool photos. And once again, I had a lot of fun taking it. Now we are on to the last photo. And now, I have left this photo for last mainly because, well, it was just the last photo I edited. But there's something very special about this photo that I did not notice when I first initially took it. I kind of noticed it, but I didn't think about it when I was editing it. And that is, if you look at the bottom of the arrow of this Circle K, there's actually a person standing there, right there. It's like the arrow was pointing right towards him. It's like I was getting a sign right there from the photo gods, like, hey, you know, this is your moment, capture this picture. You got a subject right there, take the photo. And well, I did take the photo, but because of the way I decided to edit this photo, you can't really see him too well. But I actually really like that, because my main composition for this photo was just the Circle K sign. I saw it when I was heading towards the First Friday event, and I was like, yeah, I gotta come back to this place once it's actually dark and, you know, fully lit up. And yeah, the main subject of the photo was the Circle K sign, but now seeing it with that person kind of at the bottom of the arrow, I could go back in Lightroom, kind of expose that bottom portion a little bit more to really bring out the subject a bit more so it's noticeable. But I kind of like the photo as is, you know. Some people might disagree with me. You might disagree and be like, oh, it would have been cooler to have, you know, that person in the photo. He was standing right next to his motorcycle, which was pretty cool too. But I honestly think this is a well-balanced image on its own, you know, without that person even being in it. It does add another layer, and it's always good to have some layers to your photos. But overall, it's still a well-balanced photo. You've got, on the left-hand side, you've got the actual Circle K building. You can kind of see inside of it. And it looks kind of empty. It kind of gives more of that, like, eerie vibe once again. And then on the right-hand side, I can't tell if there's a person walking or if it's a tree. Kind of looks like a person walking. I don't know. See, I'm noticing details in my photo even after I edit them. It looks like there's another person in the photo. I can't really tell, though, if that was just a tree or something. But regardless, there is a building on the right-hand side that really balances out the image. You got the Circle K right in the middle standing out. But yeah, overall, this was definitely, you know, another photo where I just, you know, I had a lot of fun taking it, and it was a composition I really liked, and I was like, you know what? I like this photo. This is a photo that I personally enjoy. If I post it to Instagram and it only gets like 3 likes, I would still be very proud of this photo. That's how much I like this photo. I love the colors in it. I love the more green, you know, yellow tones in it. But yeah, overall, this is definitely it's a really good pick. I like it. This is definitely a nice photo I took. But yeah, that's pretty much the last photo in this photo set for First Friday. Not a lot of photos, like I said, at the event, but leading up to the event and after we left, I got quite a few photos I was pretty proud of and happy with. Hopefully you guys enjoyed, and thank you guys for watching. My videos have been kind of inconsistent with the uploads. I think I did state that though in my introduction video. So yeah, hopefully I am gonna upload more. I do have quite a bit of video ideas in the works. It's just a matter of which one I want to kind of work on first. But you know, I gotta start somewhere, so you know, I'm gonna have to pick a topic, make a video on that, and just go from there, see how it goes. But hopefully you guys enjoyed this video, and once again, thank you guys for watching.